Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a new video with me, Fuzzball40. As always, if you're new around here, subscribe down below and make sure your notifications are turned on so you never miss an upload. We are just 1 week away from the launch of FIFA 22. For those of you who don't know, basically on the 22nd of September, we get early access. It's like EA trial. Basically, that allows you to play the game for 10/20 hours, depending on if you own both consoles, both next gen and old gen consoles. There was a video in it, my last video, check it out. I think it's done unbelievably well, so thank you for support there. But we are only a week away, and now is the time to start talking to you guys about how to make coins early on. Last year, I think across 2 accounts, I had about 18 million transfer profit across the 2 accounts that I used. It's very easy to make coins on FIFA. It genuinely isn't hard, and especially at the beginning of the game, simple tips, simple tricks, nothing over the top, nothing too hard in terms of how you're going to make coins in the game. So this video will take you through step by step what you need to do to make as many coins as possible. It will talk about the SBCs on the game. It will talk about the trading methods on the game, things to do and things to avoid. I'll be right back. Alright guys, let's talk about these, the devil's nectar in my opinion. I don't use FIFA points. Everything that I do on this game is done through crafting, grinding and trading. My team's insane and you don't need to spend FIFA points. But anyone that gets the Ultimate Edition, you get given 4,600 FIFA points at the start of the game. That's basically a gift, I guess, from EA. That replaces what we used to get, which was like 2 packs a week. You get 4,600 points at the beginning of the game. A lot of people have asked how to spend those coins, those packs, so FIFA points. And it's quite simple, realistically. If you are good at the game, in that early access trial, do drafts. I think it's 150, is it 300? I'll tell you now. Yeah, 300 FIFA points to enter drafts. So that's something in the region of about 15 drafts, I think, if my maths is good. Do them. Because if you get 2 or 3 wins in each draft, you will see much better returns from your 4,600 FIFA points. Far, far better returns than you would get just opening up packs. However, if you aren't good at the game or you're not good at the gameplay, you don't want to risk it, that's completely fine. Just open those packs up standardly. Open them up straight away. I've seen people say they're going to wait for promo packs, they're going to wait for this, they're going to wait for that. If there are no promo packs, get those packs opened up. Do not do that while the game is on, because you'll lose hours from your trial, you lose time from the trial. Do it on the web app, because you won't lose any sort of minutes of the trial. And that's the easiest way to do it. Just get them opened up and sell absolutely everything you get in those packs. Do not lazy list anything. Sell all your contracts for 200 coins. They will eventually sell. All the players sell them for what they're actually selling for. That's the most simplistic way to start the game. It will give you a coin base to start getting going on the game, to start trading with, to start grinding with. Hopefully, maybe hit something decent, 1 or 2 cards that are worth something. That will boost your coin total up nicely. But that's basically where you start. It's as simple as that. If you're good at the game, do drafts. If you're not good at the game, don't do drafts. Just open those packs up. In my opinion, don't wait for promo packs. Get your coin started total. Get your coin total started even. But I'll be back with the best and next steps of everything you need to do. I'll see you then. Alright guys, so next important thing to talk about are these SBCs. At the beginning of the game, every single person has to do a set of these SBCs in order to unlock the SBCs here and other SBCs on the game. Now these SBCs are important and we'll talk about those in a second, but these SBCs are such an easy way to make coins from in the initial stages of the game. The League and Nation Basics is probably the one you want to look at here. But basically, this requires you to submit players and you get random rewards, like 2 Premium Gold packs, Premium Silver Players pack. EA have brought these SBCs out every single year for as long as I can remember. If they change that this year, there'll be a video to help you guys out anyway. But basically, these require you to have a decent amount of chem and usually to use bronze players or some silver players across them. And everyone has to do them if you want to open up all the SBCs on the game. So why is that important? Let's talk about Bronze Pack Method. Bronze Pack Method early on in FIFA is extremely powerful in terms of making coins. With Bronze Pack Method, for those that don't know, what you want to do is open up the basic Bronze Pack on the game, the basic one, the one that costs 400 coins. It is pretty much impossible to lose coins on Bronze Pack Method because eventually everything will sell. So you'll open up all these packs here and then you'll go and compare the price on these players. So for example, that Buchanan there, currently selling for 500 coins, so we'll list him for 400. Jack Jaffrey, again, currently selling for 800. We'll list him slightly lower than that. And Schmidt, they're again selling for a lot of coins. Bronze packs right now, this is very inflated because of the 85 times 10. They're not normally that expensive. But at the beginning, people are going to be looking for those sort of major nations and major leagues to complete this SBC. So all you've really got to do is hit a few English players, a few Spanish players, a few French players to see a good chunk of your coins back from these packs. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, these contracts don't sell. No one's looking for a 1 gold contract. They don't really tend to sell. But badges can do quite well. There'll be badges on the game that are random teams at badges and people are starting to set their clubs up. They can do quite well. Managers can do quite well. Stadiums can do quite well. And people, like I say, they have to do that SBC. So there's a demand continually for those players. Like, it's not a sort of, it's not rocket science. If there's demand, it means you make coins. It's as simple as that. But the other way that you can look at these SBCs, and it's important to look at them this way, is in the solutions themselves. So, for those of you that don't know this, for these SBCs, and more importantly for these SBCs, there are solutions on FootWiz for you guys to go and see, and it helps you complete these SBCs without having to do it yourself. Now, I advise you do not use these solutions to complete these SBCs, purely because they tend to be inflated, but that's where it's important for you guys to know how you can make coins from them. So we head over to FootBin, and we have a little look at FootWiz even, and we have a little look at the SBC solutions here, basically. And so these are all the advanced SBCs that you've just seen, well, they're foundation, but we know them as advanced SBCs. And basically, if you click on something like Hybrid Nations, and then you can view on each of the solutions, you can view the solutions that people are continually using. So let's go cheap, no loyalty, for example. Anything with no loyalty and no position changes tends to do quite well. And you can have a little look and see which players crop up quite consistently. So you can flick through this one, through the next one, and that will give you an idea of which players are in demand. And you can go and buy those. Now, there's 2 ways to buy those. We do a thing called instant flipping. So basically, let's say that Funes Mori, for example, is a card that's important for you to go and buy. We'll go to transfer market. We'll go to players. And we'll look at Funes Mori, for example. So let's have a little look at him. Funes Mori, 78 rated. Now, it's not going to matter so much at the moment because this game's expensive, but look at that. He is up. And basically, you can see that his cheapest on the market is 1,005. There's 1,006 there. Next, that is 2,002, 1,008. So all you have to do, realistically, is just refresh the market and see if any pop. It's really easy to do that, to see if any pop. And if any pop below that, go and buy them. But then there's another aspect to this, because every day at 6 PM, that's the busiest time on the game. That is when people get on the packs to see what content, on the packs, on the game to see what content we have, open packs, and that'll bring the price of the market down temporarily, because there's supply. Supply always brings the market down. However, once that supply drops off, and that's it, the supply ends, those players sit the market, and bit by bit, they're pulled off the market for SBC solutions, and the price rises. So if you know that Funes Mori is in 5, 6, 7 solutions, and you know earlier in the day he was about 2,000 coins, if he drops down to 800 coins, buy him, buy quite a few of him. Hold him, wait for the drop to end. You'll know when the drop ends because you'll see it. And then once he's done that, sell him on. Let him rise again, let him be taken off the market again, and sell him on. You can even come up with your own solutions. You can come up with loads of solutions to these SBCs if you really want to, and that will drive the price of the players up to a certain degree because people will see that and it helps people out. I see people complain about this and say, it's out of order because it brings the player prices up or whatever, but you're also doing people a favour. You are helping people. It's not like you're just going, right, let me drive it up for the sake of it. People get an idea of it. I, for one, a lot of the time can't be bothered to sit there with solutions, and sometimes I will do them. I advise not doing them because realistically it's not the best idea. However, as you're doing this, you'll get an idea of how these SBCs fluctuate in value. And 6 PM then is a good time for you to go and do these SBCs because you'll see these players and go, right, earlier in the day, the full set of hybrid leagues would have cost me 150k to do. 6 PM hits and suddenly it drops to 70, 80k. You know that's the best time to do these SBCs. And they provide sensational rewards. I mean, brilliant rewards. There's 50k packs, 35k packs, 45k packs. All it takes is 1 or 2 decent pulls in these. You make your coins back and double. Loads and loads of coins easily. And you're pushing up to the 250k mark, 300k mark with very little work. So far, all you've done is open up your FIFA points if you've got them. If not, just open up bronze packs and sold those on. You've then sort of resold on the SBC solution cards. And you've gone and done the SBCs yourself far cheaper than they would have been had you bought them at a different time. And you'll be able to open those packs up and make yourself a lot of coins very, very easily. So that's SBC solutions. I've got it all written down to really go through it. Let's talk about the 2 major trading methods that I use in the game when it first comes out. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so we're back on FootWiz now. And so let's say after you've opened up your packs, you've ground everything out, you have got 250,000 coins after your first day or 2 of grinding the game. I'm going to be doing this live so you can basically check it out, have a little look at it, and basically grind with me. It'll be easy for you to do if you're grinding with me. But you got your 250k, you've opened up all your SBC packs, you've done all that bronze packs, and you're like, what do I do now? Okay, simplistic, you trade. You trade very, very easily at the beginning of the game. Now, we're looking at FIFA 22 players here. I'm basically going to look at La Liga Santander as our starting point. There are some fantastic cards in La Liga Santander, but they are going to be very, very expensive. For example, Marcus Llorente, a central midfielder with 88 pace, absolutely ridiculous. David Alaba, 77 pace, very good for a centre-back, it's not bad at all. Federico Valverde, again, 86 pace. Now, if your coin budget is very, very high, you can work with these cards. Without a doubt, if you've done very well, you can work with these cards. But if your coin budget isn't quite there, you want to look at the cards that people might use instead of these, that won't have the same value, a lot less risk, especially if you're new to this. So someone like a Hermoso, rather than Alaba, you might want to trade with a Hermoso, because people will still look at that. 75 pace, it's still very usable early game. Someone that you might want to be looking at. Outside of that, you might look at Nacho Fernandez, 78 pace, 81 rated. He'll get packed more often. These are really the more simplistic places to look. Really simplistic. Now, what do you do with these cards? Basically, you want to do two things. The first is you want to instant flip them. That basically means check the price on the market, like I showed you earlier on, and buy them when you see a cheaper one come up, and sell them on for profit for what they're actually selling for. Lazy listing is literally like a pandemic throughout the game at the beginning. People continually do it, and it means it's easy for you to make coins. Or you can do what I said to do, the SBC solution buying, and wait for these cards to be packed at 6 PM and sell them on for profit. Now, at the beginning, you do not want to hold these cards for longer than a day, because the continual supply means they come down in price quite significantly as time goes on. Especially these cards that are lower rated. They are packed very often, they're 10 a penny. The more of them that come out, the more they go down in price. You have to be careful. But that's what you want to be doing at a low level initially. Buy and sell those cards. Then you can start to target things at a higher level. But what I do want to show you something, and it's so important. We trade with this all the time. Basically, Shadows and Hunters are quite an expensive thing on this game. They tend to go for a lot. At the moment, Shadows are like 5,000 coins. And early on in FIFA, they tend to be relatively expensive. Cards with Shadows and Hunters on them have an added value that some people do not account for when it comes to selling these cards. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka, for example, there is selling for, let's say, 7.9 and 8.2. That's what he's selling for at the moment. Now, if you look at him with a shadow on him, there's literally not one Wan-Bissaka with a shadow on him. Now, this is not the best example because we're at the end of FIFA, but it is basically like that at the start of the game. There is a big gap between gold cards with and without shadows. You can go and buy these cards for the price they're selling for standardly, but they have a shadow on them, and as long as you're patient and list them up, you can sell them for 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 coins of profit. So let's take that Hermoso, for example, we just looked at. Let's say he's selling for 5,000 coins on the game. Okay, you pick him up for 4,000 coins and flip him on. But if you pick him up for 4,000 coins with a shadow on him, and he's actually selling for 7,000 coins with a shadow on him, you can make yourself 3,000 coins profit at a time from that card. And that's not over the top, that's not something that doesn't happen, that happens consistently at the start of the game. It's vitally important that you understand that demand and supply is there at the beginning of the game. So that's what you sort of want to look at there, it's important. But now let's talk about investments. We'll be right back with this. I want to show you what a good investment looks like and what a bad investment looks like. I'll see you soon. Alright, and for this, we're back on FootWiz. So, let's say you've been doing all this grinding and trading and now up at something like 400,000 coins. As you're doing this, you would have been packing, getting untradeable packs and awesome stuff like that. You're then building yourself a nice little untradeable team to compete. But you've got about 400,000 coins at this point. What do you do with your coins? And now is where the higher end stuff comes in. And this is where you can make more of your coins with very little effort. Very, very little effort. So let's talk about good and bad investments. Everybody on the game knows the most sought after league is the Premier League. It is the easiest league to make coins off of because there's demand, and I'll show you that in a second. The other leagues have very good, very OP players in them, but they don't tend to hold their value as much as the Premier League because sometimes they lack links, sometimes there's just not the demand because the cards in the league just aren't good enough. So let's say, for example, the Premier League has a plethora, so many different players in so many different positions that people want to go for, whereas someone like the La Liga here doesn't have that many OP pacey strikers. It doesn't quite have that pool. So Marcus Llorente, this card was extremely overpowered last year. It was a very, very good card. Big problem you had with Llorente was the league wasn't that great itself. Outside of him and a few decent players, there wasn't much to work with in that league. And so Marcus Llorente, 82 rated. This is his graph from the release of FIFA, and as you can see, it was a pretty steady downward spiral from when he started up at the highs all the way down to the lows. And there's multiple reasons for this. The first, his rating, he's not a board. 82 rateds get packed a lot more than 83 rateds get packed as a standard, but they get packed often. They're 82 rated. They get, as packs get open, they keep coming onto the market. That's the first thing. Second thing, league, he is La Liga Santander. Last year it was an okay league without being a great league. He linked into like Porto, who was quite overpowered. But there wasn't that demand for La Liga as much as there would normally be. And there was also sort of cards very similar in Valverde. Valverde linked into Mendy, linked into Varane. He had more of a demand than someone like Llorente had. But let's contrast that with Alan from the Premier League. Alan is 83 rated, okay? So he has to be packed as a board. He's 83 rated, he's Premier League, he's Brazilian, he ticks a lot of boxes. This is his graph from last year. He started off at sort of 58, 55 on Xbox. And outside of a few dips, it was a steady rise upwards, all the way up to about 97,000 coins in October. Absolute spike from here to here. Now, am I advising you to hold this card from Friday the 2nd of October there for 2 weeks? If you haven't got time on the game, yes, why not? If you're going to go on holiday, go and buy them, no problem. But realistically, no. What we're really interested in here is the first few days. So from the 2nd all the way up to the 5th, he rises by about 13,000 coins on Xbox and a bump of about 12,000 coins on PlayStation. Now, in my opinion, it would be better for you to flip cards on in the meantime. But you can go and buy a few of these cards and hold them off. Just keep hold of them, stick them to the side, and just see what they do over time. And have some investments that do well, have some sort of instant flipping budget that will see your coin total continue to rise. That will save you time. However, this graph will only give you the basic price for that day. It's an average price for that day. At times on that Friday, Alan was probably you could pick him up at 50k, 45k. And at other times, he might have been 58, 60k. These graphs give you average prices, and throughout the day, the price of a player fluctuates. It fluctuates massively, as you can see. Alan here, for example, up and down, up and down, up and down. This is his hourly graph. They jump up and down all day. If you can sort of look at that card and go, right, yesterday he was 55 and right now he's sitting at 45, that might be a good buy point. You can buy them and hold them for a day or two until they rise. Demand for weekend league, division rivals, stuff like that, they'll see a rise. But why does Alan, if we look at it, why does Alan cost more? Firstly, he's a board. He's packed less often. Now, he's still packed relatively often, but less often than someone like Llorente would be packed. He's Premier League. Always a demand for Premier League. Relatively well-rounded card is going to be needed. He's Brazilian. He links to Brazilian players in the game. Any sort of half-decent Brazilian, you're going to want to link him up. Alan, he had a perfect link to Richarlison, who was very good at the beginning of last year's game. He has a demand for all those reasons, and it's really easy to pick that out. But this year, you've got to be a little bit careful because there's a lot of OP players from different leagues that EA are bringing out. The Liga NOS looks entirely usable with Pepe having 80 pace, I think it is. So you have to be a little bit careful. But then let's look towards an even higher end. Marcus Rashford. Right now, costs next to nothing on the game. However, beginning of the game last year, at a low point, let's be honest, from the Friday, October 2nd, 130 on Xbox, 149 on PlayStation. And again, his card just steadily rose up to 208, 226, 257. Now, again, am I saying to hold these cards from here to here? No, not at all. But again, the same principle applies. You can instant flip these for bigger profit, or just buy and hold for a few days. If you haven't got time to be on the game, the rise there from 130 to 165 on Xbox, from 149 to 184 on PlayStation, these are big chunky rises. They're not insignificant rises. And if you can buy 2 or 3 of them and hold them aside and just basically wait for them to rise in price, you will do well. You will always do well. The cards you're sort of looking for, well-rounded central midfielders from the Premier League, pacey players from the Premier League, 5-star skills, 5-star weak foot, they are the cards that tend to do better. I would advise you steer clear of the cards that are lower rated until we get an idea of what they're doing on the market. Last year, a lot of people saw these very, very OP cards in the game, but they were from random leagues, and there just wasn't a demand for them, and they did not rise like people thought they would. And so you've got to be a bit careful about how you go and buy, how you go and sell them. But that's your basic guide, early game on how to make 500,000 coins in the first few days of the game. And I promise you, I will be doing this, and you'll see me do it, and it will happen. So you've just got to have sort of patience. You've got to grind. You've got to work hard. But it means you haven't got to spend your own hard-earned money on the game. If you stick with the channel this year, you will make millions. Check out the website. It will help you out. That is coming very, very soon. It'll be launching ready for the 22nd. So you can make millions of coins on that easily. But if you're new around here, subscribe down below. Make sure your notifications are turned on so you never miss an upload. But for now, I'm out. Peace out. I'll speak to you soon.